Civil Rhetoric. Today, our guest is going to be Anthony Elliott. Anthony is from Alabama, so he's from the South. This will be a good change up for me, being here from Southern California.
Oh, you
Um,
come at what city? What city?
oh, Los Angeles. So
Oh, you out in LA? What part? You born and raised or?
born and raised in Los Angeles. Yeah, I have
Got it.
family that was from Arkansas that I used to go spend
Word.
summers with, but predominantly it's 100% just LA raised, LA native, but not
Got you.
really an LA mindset. I
I got you. I was gonna
yeah.
say I got family out in the Bay. My bad. Did not mean to cut you off on your own show.
Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. Out in the Bay Area, I'm very familiar. I have tons of family up there myself. I've seen a couple women out that way as well. So like
Oh
very
man.
familiar with the Bay. Very familiar with the Bay. It's a very, very nice mix to say the
For
least.
sure, for sure.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump right into it, Anthony. We found each other on Reddit. You responded to a post that I placed up. We're basically gonna kind of go over what I know it's really difficult at times because of the way words have gotten kind of muddled lately in
Mm,
terms of what definitions are and my truth or your truth or whatnot. We're just
right.
gonna go over your personal opinion of what you feel masculinity is and what you feel femininity is. We'll go over my definitions of it, and then we're gonna discuss off of that. And then
Okay.
based off of some of the answers we have from that jot form, we're gonna go ahead and jump into a couple questions from that as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. Anthony, if you have anything to plug, please introduce yourself, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the very first question.
Cool. Hey, my name's Anthony. I'm not positive when this is gonna go up, but regardless, my name's Anthony. You can find me on Instagram at Ain't Easy Music. I got a podcast coming up, the podcast without a name. Yes, you can find me at all the things on X/Twitter at Elliott, and I already gave my Instagram, TikTok at Afro_centric. And the pod without a name on most of everything else. And I think that is all the plugging I need.
All right, sounds good. What I am gonna do is at the end of this interview, I'll go ahead, I'll get all your information,
Mhm.
and I'll make sure to post that in the actual video, so
Gotcha.
there won't
Appreciate
so
you, man.
people will be able to find you. No problem at all. That's
Super
what this is
appreciate
all about. Like, this is a give and take, as I like to say.
for sure.
So, we'll jump right into it again. Very first question is, as a man coming from the South, how would you define masculinity?
Mm. I usually define masculinity as far as leadership, right? Like down here, I'm coming out of Birmingham, Alabama. We call it Murderham. That's not for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the people who are just like, oh, there's something going crazy. Cool. Let me jump out. Hey, listen, what's going on? Blah blah blah. Right. And I believe the next question is probably going to be what's femininity, and that's going to be the ability to nurture. Right. That's just my personal perspective. But yeah, yes.
No, I get you on that, and, a question that actually leads me into before I get into my definition is,
Oh man.
being a black man, especially being from the South, how would you say not necessarily your relationships are that work out with the opposite gender? I would say more of, how do you feel like, I guess, roles kind of placed on you can kind of limit
Mm.
your ability to be masculine in society without being labeled a certain
Mm.
way?
Got you. No, it's interesting because through most of my professional career, I've worked in retail for many, many moons and many suns. But yeah, no, I've worked with the majority of women for a very, very long time. And yeah, it's been interesting, right? So as far as how it affects me as a black man, and how I kind of present myself, right? It really affects how I present myself. I'm not trying to ramble, but yeah, no, I'm very conscious of the fact that I'm 6 feet tall, 100 pounds,
Yeah.
and I'm dropping somebody if they want to play, right? Like I'm very conscious of that fact. And so because of that, I do very much try to be not necessarily passive, but I listen more than I speak in most professional settings.
That's actually a good skill to have. That's something that we kinda share here. To give you a little bit of background on me, I'm pretty much from a single mother household. My father passed away when I was really young.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear
Uh,
that.
yeah, I was too, trust me.
Man, no, I believe it, man. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy out there, but, I mean, one real thing about that for me is that entirely shaped the way I kinda looked at the world. Until I started to get older, I didn't realize that I had a very feminine view of the world.
Mm,
I was
mm.
extremely emotional, I was very reactionary. You grew up in Birmingham. I understand it is an interesting area.
Oh
I've
my
only visited
goodness, man.
once.
So it's funny. I think we kind of have like almost like an opposite sort of effect, right? So my parents divorced when I was 3, right before my 4th birthday. And so my mom moved back to Cali. She's from there. Stayed down here with my pops. I grew up with a single dad for from 3 until when I moved out, like 19. Yeah, like 19, so 16 years. Just me and a grown man giving me game on how the world works. And yeah, I feel like, getting with, the woman I'm with now, it's kind of the opposite effect. She's let me know that I'm very stoic. that I'm not very emotional about many things, right? You know, obviously we're human, we have emotions. I cry, I get scared, I do all these things, but the
Yeah.
way I processed it, I've been to therapy, and that's a whole other story we get into. But
Yeah.
you know, the way I used to process things and the way I used to think about things was very like A, B, C, E, F, G, blah, blah, you know, very straightforward, right? And yeah, no, I didn't really have that kind of emotional stance. So, you know, that's interesting.
Yeah, I find it interesting as well, but I can kinda tell by how you carry yourself,
Mm,
that you come from either someone who has been through therapy and or someone that comes from a household that had a father in it. It just
wow.
seems to be different with the way that I interact and, like, deal with people,
Mm,
because I didn't even realize that for myself, I've always been relatively rational. I've been very, very, very just methodical in the way I think and the way I approach life, even before I knew what stoicism was.
right.
Uh, but because I grew up in a household where, a woman is predominantly more emotional than a man, so that led me to areas of being, like, more emotional, so I would lash out, and I didn't grow up in a great area. Out yeah, like, I'm from the San Fernando Valley of Los
Oh,
Angeles.
you from San Okay. Okay, got you.
Yes, and most people don't know the SFV, so that's why I say Los Angeles in general,
Yeah, no,
and
you can get a little bit more specific with me.
okay. So,
For
yeah,
sure.
now that I know that your mother was from here as well, I'm
Yeah.
actually about 2 blocks from where Rodney King caught his ass whooping.
Yeah,
That's where
okay.
I grew up. So,
Yeah.
like, it's, Lakeview Terrace, Pacoima, area
Oh,
over
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. You where all the blood's at.
Yes. Yeah, Pacoima, Piru. So, yeah,
Come
you
on.
know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on now. Quit playing with me, man. Yeah, no, so I'm coming out of so I say Birmingham, but for the people who know me, shout out to all the people watching. Bessemer, Alabama is like my home, right? I'm from the greater Birmingham area. I refer to it as the 12-5. That's the area code.
Okay.
And that Birmingham as a whole is weird because nobody stays in the biggest city, which is Birmingham, which is kind of funny. Everybody stays in the surrounding areas. So you got Fairfield, Midfield, Bessemer, Hueytown, Pleasant Grove, all these places where people go to Birmingham to work, and then the people who actually are in Birmingham, Hoover is another kind of more well off sort of area. But yeah, all these people go to Birmingham kind of as a central focus for work more often than not. The wealthy people stay there, poor people go back home. 5 o'clock traffic is terrible. Um,
Damn.
yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's weird. So I kind of moved around all of these areas in so many different circles, and I'll never forget, man. I had a friend that was from like Southern Alabama, down from Auburn, right, about 2 hours south, and she actually came up here for an amusement park. It's an amusement park called it was Vision Land and Alabama Adventures. Been through so many name changes, but when it first opened, she was up here, and you know she was like, oh, you know, I'm not from here, blah blah blah. And somebody that was local was like, oh, you from here? You're gonna see a little bit of everything, and that's true. Like that's true. There's a Circle K, which is a kangaroo, or a 7-Eleven for those of us who aren't from the South.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's one right here on this specific street where like literally there will be doctors and lawyers coming in, and at the same time you walk in, it'll be somebody with a Glock hanging out their pocket getting some Skittles. I swear to God, like it's everything in one small area. So yeah, no.
It's funny. Anytime you go to, like, a city, you kinda run into that because the same way here. You know, you usually get people coming through, they're on their way to, like, a Pasadena or they're on their
Mhm.
way to, like, a Santa Clarita, and when they were stopping through a Lakeview Terrace or Pacoima, you know, it's getting gas, but they're sitting right next to the car to make sure that nobody walk up on them because
You
we
know what I
have the
mean?
we call them the Walking Dead out here, which are people who are usually,
Oh, the junkies?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
You
we
got the
go
Jays coming through. Yeah. I mean, yeah, no,
yeah.
out in California, y'all got crazy problems. We got crazy problems too. It's just, you know, down here it's a little different because everybody got guns, not just the bad guys, not just the good guys. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a big difference, and it's funny because that was a reality check for me because I grew up hunting on in the summers and doing stuff and having
Oh.
firearms, and then it went from that to, like, getting to a place where as I got older, like, everyone's like, "No guns, no guns," and, like, I even had, like, in high school, I went to humanities high school,
Mhm.
so I had, like, a really brief stint of hanging out with the blue hair crowd, so I went from being
Listen,
yeah,
hold up.
it's
You got your
there.
first kiss from an emo girl? You can tell me, it's okay. Ain't
Yeah,
nobody gonna
for
know.
sure, for
Come
sure.
on, you ain't gotta tell me because
Yeah.
I know. Listen, same thing. So funny enough, I got to be like 12 years old. Graduated 6th grade. The way they divvy up the grades here is a little weird. So first to 6th grade was elementary school in one area. First to 5th grade was another elementary school in another area, right? It's 30 minutes one direction or the other. But regardless, moved into middle school and it was a culture shock. I went from like the hood, like trenches, like Bessemer, Alabama, West Hills Elementary. I love y'all. That's the area that Gucci Mane came from before he moved to Atlanta, right? So I went from that to Hoover, Alabama, and that is like the most middle class you can get, like upper middle class for sure. Like
Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, like the next year, right? I didn't know what to do, but the blue hair crowd, they were cool people. Also fell in with the gamer nerds, really got into kind of my gamer bag, really got into things I like to do. And yeah, I'm sure that also has something to do with how I dealt with femininity and masculinity as a whole, because it's middle school. So all I wanted to do, I didn't know it at the time. I wanted some pussy, right? I many moons ago, I wanted to be cool, and he's like, yeah, I just want to be cool, and now I am cool, but that's not through like trying to get some pussy. Like, it was very intentional the way I am now. It's kind of weird to see it from a young age to an older age, but yeah.
I gotta agree with you wholeheartly. I know for myself, like, that was the main goal, and I remember it was, like, racking up numbers was, like, the number one thing to do.
Come on,
Man,
stop it, stop it, stop
yeah,
it. Come on, man.
and then,
Hold
like,
up.
when you look back now, it was such a waste of time and energy because I could have put that effort anywhere else,
Listen,
and, like, man, it would have been crazy.
so check it out though, because you could have, right? But the problem is, I don't think we be as good of speakers, right?
This is true because
I
you
don't
have to
think
be
we'd be
able
as
to
good
get
as
game.
speakers,
You
right?
gotta be able
But
to
at
give
the
game.
same
I
time,
agree.
we could just as easily have become like doctors, lawyers, engineers, just off the strength of putting our energy in somewhere else, right? If we had the guidance, right? If my dad had come to me and said, hey, listen, maybe you shouldn't focus as much on getting a number. Maybe you should focus more on the YouTube channel that you started when you were 10 or whatever the case was, right?
Oh,
Versus
damn.
listen, man. Yeah, no, it didn't go anywhere. I was several false starts. Don't get excited. Don't do that. But I got the kind of entertainer bug, early, once I figured out people were getting paid off of videos, I was like, what? And so, I started uploading little things from like super young age. I had you remember not the Nano, not the iPod Shuffle. You remember the iPod
Yeah,
Shuffles?
I remember the iPod
Man,
Shuffle.
listen, bro, like it was my first camera. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
shit.
yeah, no, was it the Shuffle? No, the Nano didn't have the screen. The Shuffle had the screen. Yeah, no, I had the iPod Shuffle, got it for Christmas, and I was uploading just stupid things on YouTube and things like that, trying to make it. And that's not how the game really is set up. But I didn't know that. I was 10. And yeah, I've been kind of on a similar kind of trajectory since. And I don't know. It's interesting for me because I feel like from a more masculine perspective, it's just like I'm gonna get in here, I'm gonna run shit. That's just me, right? It's just like, listen, I might not be the best at it, but I'm gonna do the best that I can do, right? And that's just sort of my energy everywhere I go.
No, I can feel that. I know for myself, when it comes to like defining what masculinity is, it completely entails leadership and sacrifice
Man.
because it's just like I've noticed in a lot of different spaces, whether it's red pill, whether it's blue pill or black pill or purple pill, you have a
Hmm.
lot of these people who are talking about things without actually putting the work in and actually putting in the effort to do it. And to me, it's like that's just as bad as what they're saying about the other side and how they
Man,
complain and
what
want so
out
much.
true. I was waiting to talk about the manosphere because I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw your post on Reddit, I was just like, I hope and pray this is not a manosphere podcast. Right. Like I hope and pray because like you look at someone, I'm not even gonna say no specific podcast, but you look at certain podcasts and they blame the other side and take no accountability. And that's
The
feminine in
opposite
nature.
of
That's
opposite of
feminine in nature,
masculinity, man. I
right? You know
agree.
what I mean? Like down here in the South, we call it hoe shit for show shit. Like that's not even like, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, he ain't blah 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 blah. Oh, she ain't. Da, 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 da. It's like, okay, but what are you doing? How are you in the equation? And
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah, because I think about that because they talk about, like, guys aren't getting laid now, guys aren't doing this now, and I'm like, "Who? Like, who are these
listen,
guys?" You
listen,
know?
listen. I don't know. And like, don't get me wrong. I feel like let me see, how long ago was this? Probably back in high school, fresh out of high school. I wouldn't say I felt similarly, but I could understand where something like that was coming from, where some type of like, hey, listen, this is how you get laid. This is blah blah blah. I don't know if you remember this. There was an era of pickup artists, right?
Oh, yeah,
You
the
remember?
dude with the hat. The dude
Listen,
with the
what?
hat,
Come on
yeah,
now,
the little
stop it.
top
What?
hat, I
I think
remember
Von
him.
DeCarlo still send me emails, but listen, like real talk. But like, yeah, no. But then like you look into it, and it's like, oh, there's psychology here, and blah 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 blah. Blah. And I feel like at a certain point, I know for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but I know for me at a certain point, it was like there's something missing here, right? And so even though, like, listen, dog, I ain't gonna hold you. I was a player. That's what it was. Is what it is.
Yeah,
But like come kind of getting older and realizing, yo, like I want to build something with somebody, right? And then realizing, like, yo, like I'm bullshitting, like
yeah.
really, really having that realization and just going, like, you know what? Let me just start over. Let me hold up. Let me focus up. Let me hold up. Let me get right. Do this. Do that. And yeah, nah.
Playing takes
Yeah,
time. Playing takes
man,
time. So much time.
man.
you're juggling, you got multiple phones, you're telling someone hear this and another person hear that, and then you gotta remember what you've said. That's why it went for me, like, high school, college was
Mhm.
about the time I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna stop being a player and just start being honest." And then when I
Listen,
started being honest, it actually worked out even better in terms of
and
what I was getting.
that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. That's the thing that I didn't realize. That's probably the reason why a lot of guys feel like, man, like I can't get what I'm looking for is because you're not being honest. One, with the person you're trying to sleep with, but two, like you're not being honest with yourself. Like
Agreed.
a lot of people want, like 4 or 5 girlfriends. I want this, I want that. But it's like, why, bro? Like going to therapy and unpacking is just like, oh, like I don't want 5 girlfriends. That's a headache. I want somebody that I can talk to.
You
I
want
want
peace.
I
You
want
want
intimacy. I
peace.
want peace. I
Yes.
want I want somebody who I know. I don't have to worry about it. I know if I'm dog sick and I'm throwing up and I can't stand up, I know that I can sit in this bed and somebody gonna bring me a hot bowl of soup. That's what I want. That's what
Yeah,
I want.
people kinda start forgetting that connection because I know, like, today, there's, like, this weird perversion about what masculine is and what feminine
Mhm,
is, and, like, femininity has started to veer into that masculine, trope to
mhm,
where women are no longer being as predominant amount of women I've encountered are no longer
mhm,
being that nurturing self. They're kinda
mhm,
being more in there, "I have to be strong because I have to do this, I have to do that," because they're also coming from single parent households, so they don't really have positive male role models that they can
mhm.
encounter and get that knowledge and information from. Like, for me, the first time I actually saw a male that was positive, because like, all my uncles, they were where I grew up, so
Oh,
they
yeah,
were all
no, they was
banging,
they
they were
was
all doing that,
yeah, they was
so
doing what they do.
yeah, and, like, for me, it never made sense because I just always saw gangbanging as basically a nonprofit organization, like, the
That's
people there just don't really make the money that I was interested in making.
I mean, listen, and you want to know something crazy because it's crazy. My grandparents out in California, they were actually like Black Panthers, like original Black Panthers. And like they were like feeding breakfast at the breakfast programs, right? And so like looking at like gang culture, and gang culture is huge down here. It's just a lot different in California. Y'all are way more organized. It's the wild, wild south down here. But just looking at just the fact that in a gang, in a group, right? It's just like I know I can depend on my partner. I know I got 3 homeboys that if I call, they gonna pull up and we gonna do what we gotta do. Right. That's what that is, right? I mean, and down here, I'm sure you probably dipped and dabbled. I'm sure you got homeboys. We ain't gotta talk about it. But we all probably went through a phase where we just like, yo, like it's me, I'm with 3 of my partners, I'm with 4 of my partners. We 500 deep, right? If anybody play, we gonna stomp them out, do whatever, right? We all went through that kind of phase as someone in the masculine space. I would say, man, I don't want to gender it, but I feel like we all went through a kind of like era where it's like I feel like I'm hyper aggressive, right? We all
Of course.
processed something like that. I don't know when it happened for you. It might have been high school, might have been college. For me, it was definitely post high school. Like after I graduated and I realized, let me tell you what kind of like blew my mind, right? It was my senior year in high school, right? I just started this job working at Firehouse Subs, right? Senior year. And I was doing it kind of funny so I could like get out early. I would like leave school at like 9 a.m. and then go to work. And then it was like online. It was cool how I had it set up. And so I would literally just go to work and like it's my senior year. We all passing out college applications, and I'm standing on the line at Firehouse Subs. Right on my right was my general manager at the cash register. Right, she had a master's in business. On my left was my homeboy. He had a bachelor's in psychology. On the far end, he over here putting the meat on the
Yeah,
sandwich. He got a bachelor's in computer science. And I'm like, I could do all of this by myself. I'm here now. Like this don't even make sense to me.
and you're in high school still, so yeah.
I'm like, we all in this. I'm like, this don't even make sense. So yeah, nah. So from there, like I kind of graduated high school, got so many jobs. Oh, Larry, I I done did it all. Listen, I done picked up trash at my apartment complex, worked at Bath and Body Works, technically largest in the country. That's a different story. Man, I done dressed up at kids' birthday parties. I worked on movie sets. I done had jobs, right? And so I've always had, what I'm saying, I've always had some company, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I've always had some company, you know what I'm saying? Uh, but
Oh,
but through that, you know what I'm saying, I was looking for self-validation. I was looking for like the moment where it was like, aha, like I got what I was looking for, right? Yeah, man. And no, it wasn't that, right? Until, I feel like a lot more people should look more into themselves, right? And I feel like that's definitely what you're doing with civil rhetoric. Like civil rhetoric, y'all like, comment, subscribe, do whatever it is on the platform. But
Appreciate that. Appreciate
for
that.
sure, no, definitely, man. Because like I see what you're doing, I'm doing the same thing. Pouring into yourself creatively because that's just what you want to do. I remember Andre 3000. I forget who he was interviewing with, but he was like, when I don't create, I don't feel good. Like it's just
Yeah, I remember that
listen,
interview.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You just like when I don't create, I don't feel good. Like it's just even if it doesn't go nowhere, I gotta make it, right? And so for me personally, it was writing, right? When I was itty bitty, I would sing, and then I got older and I stopped caring about actually practicing singing. And so then I got into rapping, got really good at rapping. And got real good. And then from there, it's just like, all right, cool. Like, yeah. And then like now it's writing, now it's acting. I'm trying to do all these things, but it's just I like making stuff, man. And I feel like honestly, that is a feminine aspect of it, right? But at the same time, like we're human, you know what I'm saying? There's two sides of a brain for a reason. There's a creative, there's a logical, right? There's a masculine, there's a feminine. Like there's a dichotomy, there's a yin and yang.
I agree with that. I mean, we are human, which means we carry aspects of both things. And I know for myself, being creative is a big thing for me because when I was younger, it was you play sports, like not anybody even really push doing homework. You play sports, you do some homework sometimes, you go
Yeah.
to school, and then you get a job, and then you do that. And I
Mhm.
never really picked up those tools and those aspects until later. Like that's where I got into like woodwork and I built a bunch of different stuff at the house.
Oh,
And
that's dope.
I got to that point was going through therapy because without therapy, I didn't realize it at the time, but I had major PTSD. I
Mm.
have and, like, I never fought in the armed services, nothing like that, just growing
Mhm.
up where I grew up, and
Oh
I'm
yeah, no,
still
you
to
might
a
as well
point
have fought in
hyper
the armed
vigilant.
services. You might as well
Yes,
have fought over there.
and a lot of people don't really get that, and I think that's, like, another major disconnect we have with the wider view of society, is that people don't understand that growing up in those areas is like growing up in Gaza. It's like growing up on the Gaza Strip because literally every single day,
But see, hold up.
gunfire.
I'm not gonna say it's worse, but it's definitely different because in areas like Pacoima, areas like Bessemer, areas like so many places in the country, is these things happen and then we have to act like they don't, or we have to act like they're normal. That's
Correct. Yeah.
that's what's different, right? Because it's just like, oh, you came from Afghanistan. Yeah, you're supposed to be a little off. But it's just like, why, like, how come when you drop the book, like you flinch a little bit? Like, what's up with that? Like,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
so
for myself, I never even realized it until there was, one time about 7, 8 years ago with my now wife, who was my girlfriend at the time.
congratulations.
Thank you very much. There were fireworks, it was during the 4th of July,
Mhm.
and this is the time we first got into, like, the 2A and, like, make sure that we were
Yeah.
holding all the time, and literally the fireworks going off, and we were in a townhouse, and it was the place right behind me, and the
Mm.
sparks took me back to a friend of mine who had got gunned down in front of me,
Dang,
and
bro. So
literally
sorry
ran
about that.
upstairs. Yeah, me too, but, like, it was something I had to get to a point to accept. Ran upstairs, and then, like, we have a decent array, and,
Mhm.
like, I remember I grabbed a couple handguns, and then I grabbed the
Oh,
yeah, and a 12 gauge, and I
yeah.
went outside, and I'm, like, pacing up and down, and my wife's like, What's wrong with you? What's going on?" Because for the most part, she sees me as cool, like, I
Mhm.
usually don't blow up until I need to blow up,
Right.
and she's like, "What's going on? What are you doing?" And she's like, "It's fireworks." I'm like, "No, it wasn't. They're getting ready to come kick the door down, like, we just gotta." And, like, as I'm going through this and then, like, I realize I'm like, "Oh, shit."
Then you catch yourself holding a 12 gauge, and you like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, somebody coulda saw me, called the cops on me, and
Listen, it
now I
coulda went
have
super
yeah,
bad. It coulda went super bad.
extremely bad.
You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
that's a bad place to be. And down here, same thing. Like I mean, except down here, it's almost never fireworks. Like we buy fireworks for sure, but it's almost never fireworks. But yeah, no, like for sure. And then like just knowing, just like I remember my great grandma when she was still alive. God rest her soul. But I remember like my uncles, aunts, grandma, everybody be like, oh yeah, like what I'm saying. Remember when that bullet fell through the living room roof? And it's like, oh yeah, that was crazy. Like, you know what I mean? But that's just what it was.
yeah.
That's just what it was.
Yeah,
You know
literally
what I
have
mean?
conversations with my uncles are like, "You remember the time you shot your finger off?" And I'm like, "What? Like, what?"
And that hold up, and that's just what it was. That's what it was for them, and that's what I'm saying, coming into us, and then that's who we get in the game from. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? That's who we get in the game from. You know what I mean? I didn't realize how weird it was to like be in the hood until I got out the hood a little bit. I didn't even get out the hood all the way. Like, you know what I mean? Going to
Like just
school
a
in,
little bit.
like, listen, I was going to school over in Hoover, Alabama. We could look up the medium incomes, whatever the case is. But grew up in Bessemer, going to school in Hoover, and I was like waiting for the fights every day. But it wouldn't always be like, you know what I mean? Just little stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like, I'll just be like, all right, cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Who gonna swing on who, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, hold up. Like, ain't no fights today. Like, ain't nobody fight. Ain't nobody
Like
swing on
nobody?
nobody.
Nothing?
Like,
Maybe
nobody.
something happened
Like,
I didn't hear
you know
about?
what I'm saying?
Nothing?
Like,
Yeah.
ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Like, fights were rare. And it's like, ain't nobody fight. And it's like, when people do fight, it's like a huge deal. It's like, what? Like, they crying because they getting
Yeah.
suspended. Like, what you talking about? Like, you know what I mean?
That's free vacation back in the day,
Like,
used to
what, you
think.
feel me? It's like
Yeah.
that's what it was. Like, oh man, you probably gonna get like a 3-day suspension, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like, man, at the same time, like, knowing that that's not okay, just knowing that that's weird
Yeah.
is enough, right? And so then I didn't even go to therapy, and you know what I'm saying, get through middle school, get through high school, you know what I mean? You still keep in contact with who you keep in contact with. Now I'm an adult and I've been going to therapy. It'll be a year at the end of October.
Nice. Congratulations on that,
Thank you
for
so
sure.
much. It's been so
Yeah.
expensive. But
Yeah, the shit's not cheap.
um you
Not
know what
cheap
I
at all.
mean? But yeah, like going to therapy and just realizing like, oh, like I process stuff weird.
Yeah, like hypervigilance is a thing. Like I have friends who are now in law enforcement, which was like something I never could have saw myself doing before.
Oh
But
yeah, no.
now having friends in law enforcement, they also don't sit with like their back to a door or a window. And I'm like, yeah, doesn't everybody do that? And they're like, no, everybody does not
You
do
know what I
that.
mean?
I'm
Like,
just
yeah,
like,
like just the way I pump my gas is weird. And like,
yeah,
listen, like the way I look,
yeah,
the way I scan, like, okay, cool, they come in, cool, like they walking in, all right, cool, they don't want nothing, they ain't looking around, okay. Like the way I pump gas is weird. I know that.
yeah.
But like it doesn't look like anything crazy. Like I have to look at my phone, otherwise I'm just staring everybody down, just like, all right, cool, like, all right, that's what all right, boom, boom, right? Like, and oh
It's
man, we got way
unfortunate.
off topic from masculinity and femininity, huh? But
No, but this actually deals with it because that is the formulation, at least as a black man. That's
mm,
actually, you know what? I'll even take it away from race. At least as somebody that grows up in an impoverished or an underserved community.
mhm.
That's just the way that you have to develop and carry yourself because that is what's masculine. If you don't act that way, you're going to be catching ass whoopings every single day because they're going to try
Listen,
to
what?
beat it into you. Yeah.
Listen, like that's why a lot of people from the hood are funny. Like, listen, when I was younger, I used to be the cutest little
Yep.
chocolate motherfucker. I used to be fat, like I whole 9 yards, right? I couldn't fight for shit, right? Like I couldn't fight for nothing. So like I had to be funny, and then I got hands later. Like I had to be funny first, right? And then it's like cool. So just yeah, and yeah. And I feel like that's another thing of just like why going into femininity and what that looks like in the modern era and why so many people, so many women in particular are so independent. It's because like yeah, y'all had to, like, for a while it was the expectation for
Yeah.
women to be single moms and raise
Oh,
raise
yes.
X amount of kids. Now like it's completely flip the script because guys like you, guys like me, guys watching this podcast, um, are definitely coming in and coming together and be like, you know what? Like, I don't want my little baby to be a statistic. I want to be around. I want to change some diapers.
Oh God.
I want to listen. I want to help with some homework. I want to do this, do that, do the other. That don't mean that I'm not gonna still be me. I just, you know what I'm saying?
Better
Yeah,
version. It's a
listen, a
better
better
version.
version.
Yeah.
Listen, for sure. Like I thank my girl all the time because like I was just like, listen, like I appreciate you for like giving me something to lose because
For real.
listen,
For
because
real, yeah.
if she don't, I don't know if she gets what I'm saying when I say that because like for a while it's like, dog, I'm gonna do what I want to do and what's gonna happen gonna happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? I still remind my coworkers now whenever like a customer gets out of hand or my friends, like, you know what I'm saying, my female friends just like doing whatever, dealing with whoever's like I'll go to jail, like just let me know. Like it ain't like I still like, you know what I mean? Like I'll go to jail, I ain't scared. Like, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, no, like I just, I appreciate her. I appreciate so many people in my life. It's just like, yo, I appreciate you giving me something to lose. Cause like it wouldn't have been nothing to crash out X amount of years ago. Wouldn't have been nothing.
100%, and, like, that's one thing that my wife did for me, like,
Hmm.
a complete 180 because there was a point to where you didn't care, like, you go somewhere, you go holler at a girl, she takes it the wrong way, or a dude that she's with that you don't know she's with takes it the wrong way, and you're like, "And what?"
Like
And
what's
it's
gonna
like
happen? What you want to do?
yeah, and that's literally like and, like, looking back at it now, it's like that's literally placing your life on the line because like, I always think like, "Man, I'm hard, I'm this, I'm that," but it's like there's always somebody harder. There's
No, every
always
time. And
somebody
listen,
harder.
listen, and that's like another kind of battery in your back to do the wrong thing. Cause like anybody can get popped, like anybody. I don't care
Yeah.
who you is. Like I don't
Yeah.
care. You know what I'm saying? Like that can
Yeah.
happen to anybody. I don't care how hard you are. I don't care how tough you are, whatever. And at the same time, knowing that, it's just like cool, like fine, like it happened to me, it happened to so and so, whoop de whoop, blah blah blah, right? But like
It
getting
becomes
older and
normal.
go right, and then getting older, and then you meet somebody you care about, or you get a situation that you care about, and you go like, you know what, like a weekend in county don't sound ideal right now. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's just like, I mean, even if like, you know what I'm saying, I got partners that still ride, you know, strap, whatever. But like even then they just like, bro, like I don't want it. Like even if it comes to that, it's just like, bro, like you trying to get popped, you trying to go home. Like, what we trying to do? Like, what's the goal? You feel me? But you know,
100% agree.
listen, and so like, you know, it's just like in today's modern society, I feel that as men, as people who experience masculinity, especially as black men, but really just know that you're a leader, fam. Like you're a leader. Like you are headstrong. And then even like don't be scared to cry. What? I ain't cried in therapy yet, but like I got real close last time I went. Um, you know what I mean?
Like,
Like
I
I
was
got
there.
real close. I got real quiet. And my therapist was just looking at me like, go ahead. I'm like, nah, it's fine. Them Kleenex stay right there. But yeah, no, and then just and to the people experiencing femininity, you know, it's okay to experience masculine tendencies, but like it's also okay to like not if you don't want to. Like it's cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like my girl, she's a teacher, and boy, you ain't never been educated unless she got educated by her, boy. She on top of everything, keep everything on lock, right? But like, you know what I'm saying? I still pay a lot of bills. You know what I'm saying? I still do certain things, you know what I'm saying? And like, man, this past year I was working for a place for 5 years, man. Lost my job because they went bankrupt, man.
Damn.
And so took a month off because I was like, you know what? Like I just got the PlayStation 5. I got a little bit of money saved up.
Might as
Like, you
well
know what I'm
enjoy
saying? I'm
yourself a
like,
little
like
bit.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm gonna kick it for a second. You know what I'm saying? But like she was still going to work every day, you know what I'm saying, regardless of what I was doing. So I'm like, you know what? Let me cook for her. We got the Hello Fresh coming to the house. Let me cook one of these meals. You know what I'm saying? And then it became like, listen, it became a month of me cooking and cleaning the whole house and folding all the laundry and like all of that. And like I would hit all my partners like, dog, she got me domesticated. Bro, like, listen, I would hit my homeboys. I'd be like, dog, she got me cooking and
Uh,
cleaning. And so he and then shout out to the homie Taiwan. I was just like, yo, like, fam, like I just mopped the whole house. And he was like, what? I was like, that's what I said. Like, like it's just like, dog, what you mean? You supposed to be It's like, nigga, I'll still beat your ass. Like, like, don't
you
get it
have to,
confused.
right?
I don't get it confused. I'm still who I used to be.
No, that's hilarious. But like I've gone through that myself. Like I'm older than you. So because I'm older than you, like I've gone through that. I've gone through like I've noticed that I guess from single parent households in general, whether it's male or female, like especially for men, they go
Mm,
through like early struggles. Like usually it's like teenage years to like
mm,
about 25, 26 because they're still trying to find themselves. And then
mhm,
once they get to a point to where they can set themselves up, they become somebody who is a little bit more self-sufficient. Like I know for myself, like my wife, she cooks, I cook, she cleans, I clean. Now she's not going to be going back to work because 3 months ago we had our first little one, little boy. Oh,
congratulations.
brother, thank you. Like I don't get much sleep anymore,
Yeah, I
but
bet.
that was a part of the sacrifice. That's a part of the cost you pay. Like I'm not sure if you're into anime at all, but Full Metal Alchemist, they have this quote where they talk about equivalent exchange. And to
Mhm.
me, that's kind of how I see the world. If you
Yeah,
put
no,
in something, you get something back. And
for
if it's
sure.
good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. So that's how I look at it as
You
well.
know, not yeah, no, and that's with anything though. That's with anything, right? Shout out to Full Metal Alchemist. I'm a little into anime. My girl's way more into anime. But
You
yeah, no,
got a
I'm a
good
little
one. You got a good
yeah,
one.
no, listen, man. She took me to my first anime convention down here.
Oh, nice.
We have this thing called Comic Con. It's one of those things that, well, you know, I wanted to go to, but it's just like the timing wasn't right, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, nah, like I'm dressing up, like this my Evie, this what I'm finna do.
Oh,
You like, listen, bro. And so like the first year I went, it was like, okay, cool. And it's like, okay, this is pretty fun. And so next year, you know, like I'm in the Sonic onesie, she in another onesie, you know what I'm saying? We going crazy. I'm taking
that's
pictures with
what's up.
everybody. And it's like, you know what I mean? We doing this thing every year. And it's like, oh man, like, you know what I mean?
That's
Kind of,
what's up.
you know what I'm saying? But that's that balance because I'm the one that's cool. And even in a crowd of people, I'm still looking at everybody. Don't get come on now. I'm still from the
Yeah.
hood. I'm still looking at everybody. I'm like,
It's
all right,
still
cool, you good
there.
over here. We over here. All right, cool. But like at the same time, it's just like, man, let me sneak this bottle of vodka and put it in this smoothie real quick. Let me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still trying to have some fun, still trying to
You got
enjoy
a
myself.
pregame. You got a pregame before you
Man, not
go
even the
in.
pregame, man. Listen, shout out to Kami Khan. Don't tighten your security. But listen, you can get whatever you want in that mug for real. If somebody lost a pistol in there one year, that was crazy.
Oh, I swear, like 100%. It's funny. You are literally from the South. You're from Alabama, and like in terms of
Alabama.
what you're talking about and what you're going through, it's like step for step, right in line with it, right 100%
Listen,
in line with it. Yeah,
listen, and like how many people like across the planet, across especially in America right now. America, we got problems. All right.
lots,
America, we
lots.
got problems. Everything's expensive. Ain't nobody trying to pay nobody nothing. Guys like Larry and myself have to hustle a different way. It's cool. Listen, I've come so close to managing some people's OnlyFans, like really, really close, like real close. And I'll be giving them game, like, oh man, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and he's like, oh, you should be my manager, and I have to tell him no, because I'm like, you don't want to work as hard as I'm gonna work you, like, you don't want to do that, and like, I respect you too much as a human to do that to you, so let's not. And
So
so,
now that you mentioned OnlyFans, like, what's your
oh,
take on it? Like, I personally, like, I've never really messed with that because
yeah, yeah.
I was a fan of never paying for it. So,
Listen, no,
like,
hold up. Listen, hold up. I agree wholeheartedly. But check this out, bro. It's a hustle like anything else. You know what I'm saying? It's a hustle. So
I
like
agree with that.
so listen, it's a hustle and keep it a bean. Like the fact that you can get the same money that a lot of these young ladies on the street doing their thing, and like shout out to Vegas, even though they done hike the price up. It ain't like Vegas money yet. But but like, you know what I'm saying? Like the ladies of the night in Vegas, you know what I'm saying, the solicitors out in Vegas and like other places all across America, the fact that somebody can do the same thing from the comfort of their own home. And a lot of times they don't even do nothing crazy. They just sit in the house, get naked. They might rub one out on a live stream, be like, all right, cool, tip what you want to tip. I might post a video with their ex or whatever. And then, you know what I'm saying, get the money that way. But like, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Is it for me? No. Would I do it? No. But there are dudes that do it. And you know what I'm saying? More power to you. But like, like getting a consistent check on your own terms, I have to respect that.
100%. I do have a question for you to kind of
Uh-oh.
bounce off that. Could you ever see yourself dating a previous or current OnlyFans model?
Mm. It depends. Hold up. No, hold on, wait, because I got an answer for you. It depends on what the intent is. Because if I'm just trying to if I'm just
Well,
trying to
for
have a good
marriage.
time, oh, for
For marriage.
marriage,
Yeah. Because I wouldn't even call like a good time dating. I call that just hanging out,
yeah, yeah, kicking it.
situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yes, hold up. For marriage, yeah. But by that point, I would have to be making more money because like that's how you justify her stopping.
I I
That's
could feel
me.
that.
But
I
that's
could feel
me.
that.
That's just me. There's some people that don't care personally. Or like if she's doing a thing where it's like girl on girl or whatever, it's like, okay, cool, whatever. I don't care. And you know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, nah. I could. I have to make myself do it though. That's the short answer.
It would be difficult. For me,
It,
I could never do it. And
listen,
it's nothing against them. I could
yeah.
not do that. Like, I'm also like, that's one thing I do share in common with like the red pill space is
Hmm.
like in terms of a woman with body count, because
Hmm.
I'm very dichotomous in how I think. I separate women into, this is a woman who's girlfriend wife
Hmm.
material. This is a girl that you have fun with. And for
Okay.
me, like I can't date and seriously want to marry a woman who's got a body count really above 5. That
So
was
I
just me.
hold on. So time out. I got a question. When did you know that you wanted to marry your wife?
Damn, that was probably date number 3.
Date number. Ooh, that's early, my guy. Hold
Yeah,
up.
like
Now
yeah.
I'm interested. Wait a minute. Hold on. So okay, date number three. What was it about date number three where you were like, yeah, that's the one?
Well, I guess you could say even 2.5
Two and
because
a half.
on
Okay.
yeah, on the second date is when we actually ended up sleeping together.
Okay.
And usually I would just get up and leave, or
Mm-hmm.
I'd tell them to get up and leave. This is
Mm-hmm.
before Uber, so
Yeah, that's the
driving
game.
home
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with her, I was like, I remember having this conversation with her, and she's like brings it up every now and then. I'm like, damn, I really don't feel like leaving right now. And I'm so
Dang.
shocked.
Okay. But that was the moment. That was the moment.
That was the moment. And even before the actual sex itself, it was just like vibing with her because when we first, like our very first date, I didn't even know it was a date. I thought we were just kicking it because we met at each other. We met each other at work. So I thought
Okay.
we was just hanging out. And then she
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
she mentioned it was a date because like her brother had mentioned like you don't want to wear that on the date. And she was like, I was like, oh, this is
Mm.
a date. She's like, wait, it isn't? I'm like, no, that's cool. I just thought we
Yeah,
was
you
just
just didn't
kicking
know.
it.
Yeah, yeah, no. Listen. Some stuff happened to me the same way. But
Nice.
yeah, no, that is interesting because Do you know your wife's body count? You don't have to say the number, but do
Yes,
you
I
know your
do.
wife's body count?
Yeah,
Okay.
very first date, I'd asked her because I thought, again, we were
Wow,
just
because you was just
talking.
gigging it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and, like,
And
honestly,
you was like, you could work with that.
yeah, and for
Okay.
me, I didn't even get in front of my I didn't get my own way because if I was approaching her just like she's not the kinda woman that you can just approach for sex.
Hmm.
So if I had approached her in that way, it never would have gotten to a point to where she would have became my girlfriend, she would have became my wife. It just would have been like, "Oh, she was cool." I'd be
Yeah.
her friend, she'd be my friend, but,
Okay.
like, we wouldn't
So
really talk to each other.
so
Yeah.
then here's the obvious question. I know y'all in the comments are probably curious. Would you date a virgin?
Date one, marry one before my wife, yeah, I would.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
before my
Interesting.
wife, yes, I would.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
And the
okay, then
reason being
the reason
reason
being.
being is because I don't mind teaching. Like, I
Okay,
really don't mind
okay,
teaching.
okay. And so, okay. And so listen, you and I, we got a lot in common. We probably gonna end up being like cool people after this.
I
Um,
can see that. I can
you
see
feel
that.
me? I feel like we gonna end up being cool. Was your body count higher than 5 prior to your wife?
Yes. Yes.
And
Yeah.
so
And she asked me. She asked
yeah,
me.
no, and I'm sure you were honest because y'all were just hanging out. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, so how do you feel? Do you feel okay? Hold on, let me rephrase this question.
I
Do
think
you
I know what
feel
you're
like
gonna
you would
ask.
have? You already know what I'm gonna ask. Do you feel like you met your own standards according to what you would put on a woman that wasn't your wife?
Not at all. Not at
Okay.
all. And the reason I feel that way is, like and I've actually had this conversation with her last night.
Mm.
Sometimes I feel like not even sometimes, I feel like I wasted a lot of my energy, I wasted a lot of my time, and that there's
Mm.
a lot of people that can say that they've slept with me that don't deserve to get to say that they had a chance to sleep with me. And, like, when we first started dating, like, 2, 3 weeks in, like, after she said, "Yeah," and it's like, she didn't really believe me when I told her the number. And, like, she didn't believe
There's a
me.
lot of us that are like that. I feel like my girl has said her number. I don't think I ever asked, but I feel like she said it. I think she's mentioned it. Yeah, she's never asked me my number. I don't think it matters, but right,
Well,
and that's kind of my personal opinion. I don't know if body count matters as long as everybody's healthy and clean. That's me. That's me. That's
I
me.
agree with that. And honestly, I think it's something that's more of an individual preference
Oh
because
yeah, 100%.
I don't judge my friend for having a wife who has a higher body count. I
Yeah.
don't judge my friend who married his, like, high school sweetheart, and they
Hmm.
were virgins, and they got married,
Hmm.
they have 5, 6 kids together now.
That's usually
Like
how it happens. Ain't that weird?
yeah,
People that got
yeah,
together as virgins, they 28 kids and counting.
yeah, and you know what? And then they stick it out, and, like, even though they go through the ups and downs, they stick it out. And I think for me, like, seeing that because he's always trying to get them to break up. Because like, "Yo, you, me, we can go get this," like and he's like, "No,
Oh,
no,
you was
no."
that friend? You was the one who was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, bro, hey, come on, hey, let's pull up over here." Let's like,
I got
ah.
it's like, "I got 2, I got 2." Like,
Listen,
man,
yo,
yeah,
you was the I got two guy. That's
yeah.
crazy. Your wife hit a 180 on you. I'm proud of her. Pat her on the back next time you see her.
No, for real, 100%. Because the one thing for her that kinda, like, when she believed it,
Mm,
was we were dating Burbank. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the area, but out
yeah.
in Burbank, we used to go hang out there a lot,
Okay.
and Burbank was where I used to go hang out a lot with my boys.
Yeah.
So, we were in a pool hall, and there was a girl over there staring, and I'm, like, going through my head, where do I know her from? I was like, "Oh, yeah." I was like, "You know, we should probably leave because this is someone that I've hooked up with
Yeah. This
before."
gonna
She's
get
like,
awkward
"Okay." Yeah, so we
for
leave,
sure.
and then as we're walking out, we walk into another girl's like, "Oh my god, hi, Larry." I'm like, "Oh, hey." And then literally from I wanna say this was like 3 blocks, we ran into another girl that worked,
Mm.
she worked at a restaurant over there. And then, like,
Ooh.
my wife
Larry.
it was bad. It was bad, it was bad timing.
Larry.
Bad, bad timing. My wife was like, "Oh, shit," and, like, just walked away for a minute, and I'm like, "Why are
Listen,
you
I mean,
upset?"
listen, that's a fair reaction because you would feel the same way if you kept running into like dudes
More
she had
so.
been with,
I don't think I
not
could have
more
handled
so.
it. Can't say I would have handled it. I would have been like,
Man,
"This is"
listen,
yeah, I can't say I
listen,
would be
but
able to
nah,
handle
it's
that.
cool because my girl know I'm crazy though. I remember when we first got together, we weren't together. She was seeing another dude, but like they weren't official. It was a whole thing, right? And so I was cool being like who I was. You know what I'm saying? We weren't, you know what I'm saying, wasn't no labels on nothing, cool or whatever, right? And so it was a thing. It's me, her roommate. We kicking it over her apartment at the time, their apartment at the time. And we was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and like he called her at like 2 in the morning, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's up? Like, can I slide? And she was like, no, I'm with so and so. And he was like, I'm coming. Right. And so I swear to God. And so it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm chilling. I was finna head home anyway. Cause I stay like 10 minutes up the street or whatever. And she was like, hey, like, listen, like, you know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's probably a good idea if you just dip whoop. I'm like, cool, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the game. I ain't tripping. So
Yeah.
I'm walking out the apartment, right? I see dude. I swear to Jesus, dude looked like Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness. My man had like a suit on. He had the jacket over his shoulder. He was running up the stairs to the apartment. He had like he ain't see me. Just and I was like, yo. And listen, I'm skinny. I'm a slim dude, right? I'm a slim dude. I swear to Jesus, I'm a slim guy, right? When
Uh,
I tell you dude was skinny, I'm skinny. Dude was skinny. And so literally, I got in my car. I laughed all the way home. I went to sleep. I woke up. I was like, hey, was that dude? She was like, yeah. I was like, I'll beat his ass right now. Like, like I could make this happen. She was like, I don't know. I was like, I do. And like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh no.
listen, she was like, I don't know. I was like, listen, like we could, like this wouldn't even be hard. And so, you know what I mean? But you know, he was from a higher echelon of people. He was, you know what I'm saying? He came from money, you know what I'm saying? Another black dude, but you know, that's a whole other thing when you get into like the classism among people
Oh
who
man, people
oh
of
man, the
color,
people, the
classism's
people who
worse.
came, the people who came from money, looking down on the people who didn't come from no money is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He was like that. So it was like, oh, you know, she was probably like just really trying to keep me out of jail. I appreciate that from her. But yeah, nah. So yeah, nah.
that's interesting. It's funny because there is that classism, especially within the black culture.
Oh man.
Like if you come from money, the way you look at and treat black people that don't come from money, unless they have something to offer you, like if they're really good at a sport, if they're really good at something that you need,
Or
you
if
can
or
then
if
mess with
like
them.
or if they just got good weed. Like it's
Yeah,
just something.
yeah,
But
like
like
you get
otherwise,
classified
but then
100%.
otherwise, other than that, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh, it's right. But like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like when you're poor and you run into a little bit of money, you get to understand, like, oh, all right, cool, we all people, right? And I
Yeah,
feel like that's another more masculine trait to kind of bring it back to this topic. That's a more masculine thing to just understand we are all a baseline. We are all people. Nobody's perfect, nobody's bad. People do bad things, people do good things. We are all people, right? And so just understanding that and going in, but then, dude, listen, I still think about that night because I was like, ooh, like I remind her about it every couple of months. She gets sick of me talking about it. But yeah. I was just like, you remember when? It's like, yes, we talked about this like
it's
three
like I
months ago.
remember it vividly.
I
We
remember like
always
I was like, me too, because like, boy, I would have drug dude. But anyway.
that's a dude for sure that'll get you arrested though. She made
Listen,
the right
that's
call.
listen, I appreciate it. The more I think about it, it's like, yeah, no, I appreciate you not letting me crash out. But at the same time, Larry, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've had similar
Yeah,
interactions, I'm positive.
100%. Yeah.
And you know for a fact, it's like it ain't nothing to just go down these stairs real quick and let you know what it is. We go our separate ways. We ain't gotta be cool. We ain't gotta look at each other no more. I just
We ain't
want you
never
to
gonna see each
know
other again.
we ain't
I
never gotta
get you.
see. Listen, you can do whatever you want as long as you gonna keep my name in your mouth. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I know for me, it was that because, like, even the way I talk now, the way I carry myself now, it's very different from how I did, and I had to get to a point to where I was comfortable enough to do this
Mhm.
because I used to always have to put a mask on. Like, you always
What
have
was
to
the
pretend to
mask?
be
What was it?
it to pretend to be something I wasn't. It was to pretend to be, like, the dude from the hood that
Dude from Pacoima?
yeah, like, it was putting that mask on, and I remember that because that was kinda beat into me from my uncles. I'd be when I was a kid, I remember what was it? It was, oh, man, it was going to they have a rec, like, where
Mhm.
in an area I live, and
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
doing karate class,
Okay.
and I was like, "Oh, I wanna go join karate class because I used to like Bruce Lee movies and Van Damme and all
Everybody
that
did,
stuff.
yeah. I feel like everybody took karate class.
Yeah, and, like, I took it for a little bit, then they was like, "Oh, man, you gay, you being a bitch. Why it's like, why are you trying to do this?" And then I was like, "Okay, I can't do that." And then I was like, "Oh, man," I was in the cartoons. I remember I was watching the Care
Oh,
Bears
man.
movie,
Oh, they got
and
on
it
you,
was
boy. They got on you.
oh,
They got on
big
you
time.
bad. You ain't never seen a Care Bear since.
No, no, not at all. And it really warped my mind in terms of, like, even how I talk. Like, even when I got to because junior high, my mom did not let me go to the local junior high because she saw the route I was on, so she sent me to
Ah,
a better junior high, and then, like, so
okay.
there, I
Mhm.
had to start you couldn't just go talk and act like that because then you're constantly in the opportunity room or your mom's
Mhm.
constantly getting called, and she's working, so she ain't got no time to be coming to the school that's
Boy,
far from the house to come pick your
ass
ass
whooping
up.
of the year.
Yes. 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 And I know for me,
Boy.
it was a thing. It was a thing, and then when I got to high school, like, she
Oh.
was like, "You're not going to the local high school." She sent me to a humanities magnet, and, like,
Mhm.
that school was where I really started to see, like, man, these are people going from they're getting dropped off in, like, Ferraris. Like, they're getting
Oh,
dropped off
man,
in
she sent you
big
over
boy
there.
car. Yeah, school bus. I had to get
Listen.
up at 5 in the morning to catch my school
Ooh.
bus to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
there
yeah.
by 7:45, and then I had
Mhm.
to take the MTA, which was the RTD for a little bit, but the
Yeah.
MTA when I started playing sports and I wanted to go work out in the morning before classes.
Ah.
So, yeah, it was a hell of a thing.
Listen,
Hell of a
hey,
thing.
and then hold up. The crazy part is because I'm sure at the time you was just like, "Mom, you tripping? Like it ain't even that crazy." Even though, like looking back, like she really like saved your life in
Like,
more ways
literally.
than one. Like literally
Literally.
saved your life. No,
Literally.
like my dad did the same thing. He was a teacher, which is why, like you know, what I'm saying even though I was in the hood, it didn't feel like it, right? Because he was making decent money. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, he taught at my elementary school, and then once I graduated, he found a job that was paying more in Hoover. He taught at an elementary school over there. I'm going to a middle school over here.
Man.
And yeah, no, but like, listen, I'm still Facebook friends with everybody and seeing like, you know what I'm saying, seeing people throw up certain numbers and seeing who got popped and seeing who went to prison and seeing this, that, and the other and whoop de whoop. And it's like, oh man, like I and
Dude,
and like the saddest part, the craziest part is like you still feel connected, like you still reach out, like, hey, like you know what I'm saying? It's still all love. Like I don't look down on them because like they
they're still people.
listen,
Still
they're still
people.
people. Not only that, they still my people. We listen, we was at the same lunch tables together. Like
Yeah.
it ain't even like that. It's just like, bro, like I was maybe 3 bad decisions away from being dead or in jail. If that.
Yeah, and the
If
funny
that.
thing that you mentioned is you have friends from, like, your elementary days. Like,
Mhm.
for me, I really don't have any because
Mm.
California is not a lot of black people in certain areas,
Oh
and
yeah.
where I grew up, it's predominantly Mexican. Like,
Oh
it's
man,
like
okay.
Pacoima's like 80-20, like,
Yeah, no,
Pacoima
for sure, for sure.
Piru, the NOMs or the Pacoima Piru, the little,
Yeah, yeah.
projects over there,
Right,
that's,
right.
like, the only real area black people are in,
Oh
and
yeah, for
outside
sure.
of that, there's not really that many, so I don't really talk to anybody anymore,
Right.
but the black folks that I did go to school with, I can't talk to them anymore because they're either dead or in
Or
jail.
in jail. Yep.
Yeah, like,
Yep.
legitimately either dead or in jail.
Yeah, no, down here it's like it's starting to shift more so now. We're seeing a lot more people just from all over move to Alabama. I'm sure you've seen certain things in tech pop up in Alabama.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like growing up, it was like, yeah, no, it was like it was black and it was white. That's just what you saw, right? That's just what it was. As you got older, obviously you understand that there are just more people from different diasporas, different ways of life coming into different places for opportunity. But growing up, it was black and it was white. And if you were like anything that wasn't that, you were Mexican or Asian. Like that was it. That's all we got. Like I met my
That's so
first
funny.
listen, like you meet like an Indian dude for the first time. It's like, what are you, my guy? Like you're from
Where are you
where?
from? For
Like,
me, it was Armenians. I was like, "What
oh
you"
my goodness,
I
Armenians?
was like,
Oh
"Wait, what
man.
are you?"
Nah, bro. I got to high school. It was this girl. She was Bengali, and it was like, "Oh yeah, you're Indian." She's like, "No, I'm not. I'm Bengali." And like, you had to learn the difference. It was like, "What are you talking about,
Yeah.
dude? Like, what are you saying to me?
That is
Like, what are you saying, dude?"
that's so funny. It's funny because it's like a completely different experience, but it kinda creates the same mentality.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but like, and then you just realize, like, listen, shout out to her. I'm not gonna say her name, but I hope she's doing well in life because I saw her throw 2 shoes at a guy because he broke up with her that one morning. That was funny. But
2 shoes.
listen, it was a thing. Like they were dating. This is a whole other thing. But
Uh,
like, it was a guy. He was a little bit of a player. He was like a little bit of a player. Wasn't a great guy to the ladies, right? He was a little bit older than me too. I think he was like a year or two older than me, and he was dating this girl. This girl was a beautiful girl, right? Gorgeous, right? And like it was a thing where he like came in one morning, it was like 7:15 in the morning or something like that. And he was just like, yo, like I'm finna break up with her. Like it's just, I'm finna move and like this, that, and the other. It's not her, it's really like my situation. I'm gonna just break up with it, right? And we was all like, okay. Like he's like,
good luck.
okay, like, all right, like just let me know. And so like he like, you know what I'm saying? He like took her to the side, was like, hey, listen, he did the right thing. I'm not gonna hold you. He took her to the side, took her out the way, blah, blah. I was like, listen, you know what I'm saying? Blah, 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 this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. When I tell you she yelled, like screamed at this man and stormed away, right? And so we were all just at this lunch table at 7:15 in the morning. Nobody here except like 5 of us. And we was like, are you good, dude? He was like, yeah, no, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? She just, she upset. That's understandable, right? And she came back. This is what was funny. She came back, right? And so she was like, are you serious? He was like, yeah, no, like that's the situation. And like right there, I don't know how she did it so fast. She took off both of her shoes, threw them. Like I'm probably as close as I am to this microphone, just fop, fop, and then she ran into the woods. I swear to God, they had to go get her. I swear to God, it
She
was some
ran
woods
into the
behind. I
woods.
swear to God, she ran into the woods. We was waiting for her to come back. We was like, where's she going? It was like the woods. It's like, what you mean the woods? Like, it's not how that works. Like,
Like,
they had to go get her. Like the bell rang for the first class, and we was like, where's she at? It was like the woods. It was like, what are you saying right now?
that's a completely like just the ability to run into the woods in general
Barefoot,
is just
mind
hilarious.
you, barefoot. Like
Oh,
she
dude.
was hurt, bro. She was hurt, and like we understood because again, he wasn't a great guy, but but at the same time, we were just like, I don't know, man, that might be an overreaction.
That might be a little bit much.
Like, I'm not trying to tell you how to react, but man.
No, I get you. It's funny. We are coming up on the
The
1
hour
hour
mark,
mark.
yeah.
So I will say this. I actually would like to have you on again.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Like legit though, you're easy to talk to, you're good to talk to, and like the next thing that I'm gonna do after we wrap up this gender stuff is I'm gonna do a little bit of discussions on race relations, especially within race relations within the communities, because I mean, trust me, like I'm not as light skinned as I was when I was younger,
I'm not
which
as
was
light skinned as I was.
yeah, man, I'm telling you, like for real.
It's crazy because my mama yellow, so I get it. It's
It
crazy.
it's a and like especially being a dude that was
Mhm.
yellow,
Oh,
like
you had to fight a lot.
literally constantly
You had
tested.
to fight a lot.
Constantly tested. And, like,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
not and, like, you're 6 feet tall, I'm
I'm
six
6 feet.
one, 6'2", and,
Yeah.
like, I've
I'm
always been
6'1" in the
kinda
right
big.
sneaker though, so we good.
He's
In the
like,
right sneaker, we straight.
when I wear boots, I'm, like, 6'3", 6'4".
You feel me?
So
Like, listen,
yeah.
yeah, no.
Yeah, and I've always been a bigger dude, so, like,
Mhm.
I basically grew up fighting people that were, like, in high school when I was still in elementary, and, like, it's just, like, getting to the point that because you can't let certain disrespects go by, or you can, but you technically can't, you
I mean,
know?
in the area you at, bro, like you gotta fight. Like, even if it's just like you just gotta get one off. You got to.
Yeah,
Like that's just what it is, right? Because you know what I'm saying? It's like gladiator school, is what it is. Like,
yeah.
it's like, listen, like, oh, he said this, what you gonna do? It's like nothing, it ain't that deep. It's like, yeah, it is. next thing you know,
Yeah,
next thing
you
you
out there,
know,
you
you in the
tumbling
principal
around.
office, you in all type of trouble because of nothing.
Yeah, it's funny because one of my cousins who was, like, a year and a half older than me was, like I kinda grew up with him.
Yeah.
He's been in life in jail for, doing stuff, and I talked to him, and then when he talks to me about it, it's like, it's just like that. It's just like that, like, you can't
Yeah, no,
say
you got
certain
your
things.
sides, you got your people with
Yep.
certain people. Listen, bro, like my elementary school was so bad, it didn't involve me, thank goodness. But like there was like the kids among the classes decided that they didn't want to bang, like, you know what I'm saying? Down here it's all gangster disciples of Crip. At
Yeah.
least in Bessemer, Bloods came later. But that's more a Birmingham thing. But man, they decided they wanted to start their own gangs. And like, listen, they was flagging too, boy. They was
Oh,
serious
damn.
about it. They was serious. It was, yeah, no, they would throw the foes, the twos, whatever. It was so bad that the principal like corralled the people who were involved because everybody told. They was like 8 or 9. Everybody told, and so they gathered them and put them in the library for like probably like 45 minutes, an hour, and just had real gang members come through and be like, listen. This is what it is. And like, I don't know if it worked because they definitely stopped doing what they was doing there. But I know like a couple of them still flagging, and that's cool. But I don't know how well it worked. So there is that.
Yeah, it's a trip. Like, the funny thing is, I remember there was a group of kids, they were Mexicans, and, like, they tried to start, like, a little tagging crew gang stuff,
Ooh, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like, here, it don't
That's
fly
critical. No, that's
'cause
critical. No,
they
that's
couldn't do it around Pacoima Piru, and then when they
Shaw
tried to
can't.
do it and then when they went to go try to do that around their own, yeah, they were not having that. They were not having that. Yeah,
Theo
and I
gonna come
remember there
through.
were yep, couple kids I knew, knifed up, like 8, 9 years old, knifed up
Yeah,
after
no,
school.
no, no, no. They just like what you doing. Like it's like what you
Yeah.
mean. That ain't what we doing over here.
Yeah,
And it's
grown
still
ass
like that in
man.
certain areas. You can't do just what you want to do anywhere, right? And
Oh, 100%.
it's still like that.
100%.
I know Pacoima's still crazy.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be gentrifying. Like, they put
Listen,
a discovery centers there and everything,
oh
but
man, listen.
no,
Shout
brother.
out to gentrified areas, man. We got a spot called Avondale, right? It's a spot in Avondale that's just outside of downtown Birmingham, right? So Avondale, like we've got like these cool bars, like a Saturn, like Big Boy comes through, perform. Like everybody has these huge shows down here.
Nice.
Everybody comes through, perform. But you cross them train tracks, my guy. You cross, listen, like real talk, like it's this beautiful park, and it's just like, oh man, we should go over here and explore. It's like, dog, that's the train tracks. Like, what are you talking about? We ain't going over there. Like,
Yeah.
like, cause like, and in fact, like rewind maybe 15 years ago, like you couldn't wear nice shoes over there because they was getting took. Like
Yeah,
you
they would
could,
get
it was getting
oh,
took. They was getting took 15
man.
years ago. It was getting took.
Man, you know, one last quick story before we wrap up here.
Come on.
I remember playing ball when I was in high school, and, like, I played
Oh.
everything, and we started playing games, and, like, we had LA because, like, my girl, she grew up in Watts. Like,
Mm.
Watts, Compton, and, like, these dudes over here wearing, like, their J's, like, one color on one foot, one color on another
Oh
foot,
yeah, yeah.
and
They
they're
were
like,
doing
"Why
that in
you
the
wear"
early 2000s too. That's when
Oh,
that was
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and I graduated '02. So,
Oh
like,
man, I graduated 2017. That's interesting.
yeah, that's what I said, like, I know I'm older than you, so, like, yeah. But, like, these dudes, like, they're wearing all their fancy shoes and like, "Oh, let's go run to Jack in the Box before the game." I'm
Mm.
like, "You sure you wanna wear those?" "Oh, yeah, yeah, it's all good." But they didn't know. They were from the, like, Reseda Valley, like, where they filmed The Karate Kid and
Oh
Cobra
my
Kai and all that shit.
god.
So, this does not compute in their head.
Oh
And they're
my
like I remember when the car pulled up, the dude asked, he's like, "What size are those?" And the dummy is like, "Actually, oh, they're 13s." And I know you're supposed to say my size because
you
if
don't
you yeah, you don't just they're
you don't
13s.
you don't say 13. It's like, all right, bet. Everybody hopping out getting them, but let's keep going.
Yep. Yeah, no, literally that's what happened.
They hopped
Took
out,
the
took them.
and then we went back to the damn school and they had to go get shoes. Like they went to Payless when it was still a thing,
Shout
got
out to
some Pro
Payless.
Wings so they could actually play in the game. Got their J's taken and got their bag taken, like
Listen, bro,
everything.
California crazy because down here they'll just shoot you. Like California crazy because like it's folks hopping out of cars barehanded. But yeah, no, I know it's 61 minutes and counting. So I
Yeah,
know, press for time. So I mean, but we can resume these conversations.
for sure, for
For
sure. I'm
sure.
looking
It's
forward to it.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's good talking to you, Larry. You like the big brother I never thought I wanted.
You know, man, and like for me, that you're like a little brother that I was only
Oh
child
man.
here, never had it, but
Oh, oh
uh,
man, Larry.
yeah, telling you,
Larry.
you could tell. Like you could, yeah, you could tell.
Are you a
Like
Virgo? Because that's gonna trip me out. No, no,
you
you
know,
not.
when I saw when your birthday was, I was like, "Oh, man, my birthday's on the 21st." Yeah.
Oh my Larry, are we the same person?
Man,
Are
happy
we the,
belated,
the
by the
same
way.
person? Oh,
Tell you,
thank you.
man.
Happy belated, dog. That's
Thank
so
you.
crazy.
Yeah, it's a trip the way things work out, man. So, like, yeah,
That's the universe for you.
yeah, yeah, it's an interesting